got rose in my cup though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Ronnar, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's the lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the F7 championship here on PSGL. I'm K1997, your lead commentator for this race, and this time we are racing at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Opened back in 1969, formerly known as the Österreich Ring and also the A1 Ring. Now today, as we know, as the as the Red Bull Ring, with its more modern touch thanks to little modifications from track making supremer Herman Tilke. This track consists of 2.683 miles, one of the shortest racetracks on the modern Formula One schedule, and also has the fewest corners out of any racetrack on the calendar with only 10 turns, and also has 3 DRS zones, one that leads down the main straightaway into the first corner, the Niki Lauda curve, and also down the second straight leading up towards turn 3, and also the back straight at the exit of turn 3 leading into turn 4. Those will probably be the ideal overtaking spots here at the at the Red Bull Ring, I should add. But we will also see here for this race, we could see some track limit warnings. That is something that I've seen numerous times here in Austria, and also, not to mention as well, DRS trains will be something to see as well. So qualifying here will be not only important, but also very, very close. I've seen it numerous times in previous occasions how this can be very close here in qualifying. And not to mention also this, as you can see too, the track has a more modern skin as well, so you could probably notice as well a little bit that there has the MotoGP chicane, that little bit there at turn 2. So yeah, it's got a bit more of a modern touch, which is also nice to see indeed. Now, before we go fully focused on to qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from last week's race at Qatar. Only a few incidents that were reported, one of which being an incident between Maybe and Brokey that resulted in pretty much Maybe getting a 5-second penalty and 2 license points, but he was outside the points anyway. Buncha was given, was managed to get his 3 seconds removed, so that promotes him from 6th place to 5th. Another one also was an incident between Luno and Michele, which resulted in a 5-second penalty and 2 license points. And then another one was an incident between Michele and Nathan, resulting in Michele getting another 5-second penalty and 2 license points. So 10 seconds and 2 license points, which results Michele dropping down from 7th to 9th place. In the Drivers' Championship currently is Riggs that's leading the way on 45 points, followed by Provatox in second with 38 points. And it's just, well, it's pretty much really close to the championship as we speak as well, because we got Michele in third with 31. The reserve driver also in the hunt for the drivers' championship, which is very interesting indeed. In fourth is Brandox with 28 points, followed by Rezify in fifth with 22. Yanetsky in sixth with 18. Nathan in seventh with 14. Bella being eighth with 13. Bunsha in ninth with 11. And Cedric in 10th with 8 points. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull are leading with 45 points, followed by Ferrari in second with 41. Two-way fight between the two, along with Aston Martin in third with 30, followed by Alfa Romeo in fourth with 26. AlphaTauri in fifth with 25. McLaren in sixth with 22. Mercedes in seventh with 15. Haas in eighth with 9. And then Alpine and Williams rounds off with 5 points. Now we got that out of the way, I can now introduce my co-commentator, who's once again Flynn, and also who, by the way, made this stream looking very nice indeed. First of all, Flynn, thank you very much also for doing this. It's a really nice pleasure to see the graphics and everything that looks so professional. Now, also, what do you make of the here in Austria? Do you like this track, or how do you fare with this players?
Well, to be honest, for my personal experience, this track at Austria is one of my all-time favourites. Like, I'm quite decent at it, to be honest, but as you were mentioning earlier on, track limits can be quite a big play on this track. Whilst you were like doing the standing walkthrough and bits and bobs about the track itself, a lot of drivers that I'm riding on board with are struggling with track limits, which is quite surprising, but also known as, like you said, it's quite a difficult track. But no, this track is quite an exciting one, just really harsh on track limits if you go ever so wide, ever so slightly.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, there's been numerous occasions where track limits will be a thing to be careful with. Penalties are something you don't want to have if you have really close racing, for sure. Let's see, we got Michele who's about to do a flying lap as we speak. Why don't we try to take a guided tour around the racetrack here on the Haas driver. We'll ride on board with him as he makes his way down the main straightaway up towards the Niki Lauda curve, turn 1. Down to 4th gear, use the outside apex, but gets a little bit too squirrely at the exit of turn 1. As Joes goes to the top with a 1 minute 3.7. Up and over the crest, up towards turn 3. Braking just before the 50 board, down to 3rd gear. Hugs the inside apex as much as he can. Uses the throttle on the exit of turn 3. Nicely done there, modulated very well indeed. Down the back straightaway, open the DRS. Heading up towards turn 4. Braking just about 100 meters, down to 3rd. It's a bit of a negative cambered corner. Got to be very careful how you measure it. Around turn 5, up towards turn 6. Down to 5th gear, slowly down to 5th as he makes his way. Oh, that's just a little bit close on track limits, but keeps the car within the white lines. Through 7, through 8. Very nicely done there, using a lot of the curb as well. Hey, up towards turn 9, 7th gear, up to 8th. Now flicks the car in. You gotta be pretty much very committed through these final 2 corners. And he keeps the car within the track limits, opens DRS, up to the line, and it's a 1 minute 3.569. And it's nearly over 2/10 clear of Joe's. Fantastic lap.
That is a fantastic lap, like you said, and on the margin, on the far line for track limits, and yeah, that was quite exciting. But I was kind of out of my chair at one point in Sector 2 and Sector 3 with how close the Haas was on those white lines. Wouldn't you agree with me, KD?
Oh, yeah. No, when I was watching him, yeah, he was very close on edge with the track limits. Now, the thing is, too, is with turn 6, the exit of turn 6, you remember how in the previous scan, you didn't really have what it looks like now, where the curves are now more lenient and you have more gravel. It used to have more curb on the outside. As Resify, 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking.
That is quite harsh, to be honest. That is, yeah, definitely harsh. Potential lobby restart after qualifying's done. Hopefully not. But if that is an unfair penalty, then it might have to be that way, unfortunately.
Maybe. It could be. I mean, he He had an Aston Martin right behind him.
Mm.
I did notice on the mini map. So yeah, I don't know what exactly was going on there, but yeah, very interesting to see. Let's see here. And Netsky, who's on a flyer, currently sitting in 8th, making his way through turn 1, up towards through the Nicky Ladder curve, I should say, as he makes his way up towards turn 3, opens the DRS, peak speed 197 miles an hour, and he's up by just about half a tenth to the first sector split, as Bellbell goes to the top with a 1 minute 3.561.
Wow.
Very impressive lap time indeed there from Yanetsky. I'm sorry, not Yanetsky, Bellbell. I should say, I'm running along with Yanetsky, I should say. Get a little bit of those oopsies now and then, I guess. All right, around turn 6, up to...
Ooh,
oh, but
in
he
the
loses the
gravel.
back end in the gravel trap. It goes over the gravel too. And yeah, that's pretty much ruined the lap.
But I say that was a
Oh,
pretty
dear,
nice save as well. And
Yeah.
having a look through the track once again, right on board with the Red Bull driver now of Riggsy now. Up to turn number 3 we go. And he's actually backed off on his
down.
lap. He's backed off.
He must have
completely.
messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have messed up at turn 1, which is very easy to do.
Mm.
That, even with the curve being flatter at turn 1, it is still easier to unsettle the car, from what I have noticed.
Yeah, that is what's quite interesting about this track is obviously turn 1, you can take it right, but you can take it so wrong, hit that sausage curve, and it really does unbalance your car. But on board of the
Absolutely.
McLaren driver now of Resify, and they're up by a 10th now as they leave Sector 1 to go into Sector 2. And he's got a little bit of traffic in the way ahead of him, but the Haas getting out of the way there, but giving him a nice little tow, which Resify will be very happy and pleased with. But I would say with this track in advanced, it's not about top speed. I'd say it's more about your precise cornering and exit speed. I believe this track requires more, more downforce than high force, if that makes somewhat sense, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's more front end downforce because
Yeah.
of the middle sector. Yeah, no, I totally understand. Resify, as we saw, just came across the line, does a 1 minute 3.6. He actually lost a bit of time in that final sector. He was up by 3/10 and then probably just lost a little bit there. I think he's got more time in him from what it looks like, so we'll see. Yanetsky going to third with a 1 minute 3.6. And right now, the entire top 12 is the only ones right now in the 1 minute 3s. It's still close, as Nathan goes to 6th with a 1 minute 3.701. And yeah, the top...
a very close grid again.
Yeah, I mean, that's expected here in Austria, but yeah, the top 2, I was going to say, 8,000 of a second separating those two. Oh, as Brand also left the session, hopefully he'll be able to rejoin.
Fingers crossed.
But, yeah, and then from 3rd to 5th, it's separated by about 6/100ths of a second. That is just really marginal. Another close qualifying we're going to see here with this grid. We have seen this numerous times here in F7, which is very nice to see. Even for being F7, it's a very competitive tier nonetheless.
Oh, 100%. This is like, when you think of F7, you think of very slow lap times, but this season so far, me and you have experienced not slow lap times, a very close grid with marginal times, marginal errors, and mistakes as
Michele goes to the
1 minute
reserve driver in the Haas.
0.426. That's a mega improvement, if I say so myself. Like, that's really good from the Haas. Like you said, the reserve driver. That is, I'm in shock. That is pretty impressive. Wow.
Yeah, and the thing is too, he's not far from the championship either. The drivers' championship. He's only about 14 points behind our current championship leader, which is Ray from the Red Bull. But so far, actually, I failed to notice, I think. But yeah, he's right now at 12th, Riggs. He's got some work to do if he wants to get towards the front, and also keep the lead for best he possibly can.
Maybe
but yeah,
he's
no.
struggling. I don't know. I could be wrong.
He could be struggling. That is true.
This can be quite a tough circuit for some drivers if they don't know how to take precise cornering and exits. Like you said, obviously turn 1, there's 2 ways you can take it: the correct way or the non-correct way, which is slapping that sausage curb, getting a tail whip on the rear end, and it just goes all completely wrong. But I think I'm most excited for, but also scared for, is going to be turn 1 at the start of the race. That's going to be the, I'd say the most terrifying part of today's race is going to be turn 1 on the start. Hopefully it's all clean, but knowing how aggressive some drivers can get on the start, of course, racing hard down to turn 1, I believe prediction-wise we could see 1 or 2 or maybe 3 or 4 drivers off the track at turn 1, as space can be quite marginal as how tight and close turn 1 actually is.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they can keep it clean. As right now we have Tuca up by 0.2 of a second to the middle sector. Currently, the only driver actually on a flying lap as we speak, as he makes his way down towards turn 9. And I think that's Brandog's now finally back in his car. That's why the timing screen went a little bit wonky there just for a brief moment. As Tuca crosses the start-finish line just at a 1 minute 3.995. Another top 15, all of the 1 minute 3s. That is insanity. Half a second separating, actually no, 5.5 tenths, I may correct myself, separating the entire top 15.
That's
Insane.
pretty impressive. Oh,
Oh,
Janetsky,
yes.
not ideal at turn 1 there, invalidating on the sausage curb, like you said, taking it wrong, and a result of that, he's been punished for track limits, which can be, like I said, and like you say, very, very harsh on this track, very harsh.
Absolutely. Well, Belbo B right now in the mark is about to start his flying lap. He's got pole before. He did it back at Bahrain a few weeks ago. Let's see what he has in store here. As he's got traffic, but he's going to get a sneaky toe from a Ferrari. Oh, that was marginal there from him. But what was the clock say? He's up by 0.5 tenth of a second. So, he's got some time that he found there thanks to the little slipstream from the Ferrari. I think that might have been Provatox that he might have got it off of. As he now makes his way to turn 4, down to 3rd. Back end stepped out. Back end actually stepped up a lot more than I anticipated as he backs out of the lap. Yeah, the back end just did not cooperate there at turn 4. Probably locked the rears, I'm going to say. Well, either that or he used a little bit too much of the curb. Outside curb there to the entry into turn 4.
I was going to say, there's a lot of drivers now actually invalidating, like Toby, Joe, I know Pravatox, he's invalidated in his lap time. The only one that hasn't at the moment is Resify, but they've backed off on their laps. They've taken a bit of their tumble at turn 1. And yeah, drivers just struggling to find lap time at the moment, as Janetsky on a flyer now and isn't up much on their time, but there's still an improvement to find on the track, fingers crossed. P4 at the moment, can he find a little bit more time to bump his Alfa Romeo potentially into the top 3 as he goes?
Well, he's up by nearly a tenth.
That is pretty impressive. Now he's definitely found some time there, but it's all about sector 3 now, and there is a lot of traffic. So hopefully he doesn't get blocked here.
He's going to go through turn 9. He's got traffic in front. Hopefully that doesn't ruin it. I don't think it has.
No, it hasn't, no.
No, you across the line.
Wow.
Oh, it's only P2. Only P2 for Janetsky with a 1 minute 3.450. Michele, our current pole sitter, though, is down on his time by just over a tenth. And Belbo B is... Oh, he's invalidating his lap time, actually. I just caught that.
I've just seen Boom go to P3 now at 1 minute 3.455. So that's quite mighty and impressive there. Belbo B will not be able to get another lap in. That is his qualifying done and dusted.
No, that's
P4. Yeah, that's it. Done and dusted.
Yeah, Resify's quality, I think, is done as well, maybe?
Pravatox
no,
well.
he's up by 90.
Oh, no. Pravatox is still going. I thought he invalidated.
No, I think you may have been thinking the last lap. No, he's up by 37 thousandths. He's got the final sector.
It's getting marginal now.
It is getting very marginal. It's getting very close indeed here. Ferrari opens DRS. Up towards the line. Oh, he doesn't improve enough. Michele, though, makes a massive improvement there. Well, actually, not by much, actually, as I anticipated. 9 thousandths of a second he improved. 1 minute 3.417. Brandox with a
Brandox.
1 minute 3.3. Where on earth did that come from?
No idea, but Brandox has been amazing at qualifying so far, but Reservoir's quite up on their time. But as I say that, they invalidate on turn 10, and that
And he
is
would have
not
gone
ideal.
to pole.
Yeah,
he
he
would have
would've.
got pole. He was at a
Ah,
1 minute
Reservoir
3.355.
will be very gutted with that. But I'd tell you what, KD, that was a fantastic qualifying to watch. Fantastic.
Almost everybody is within 6.5 tenths.
What is going on tonight?
The-
I swear,
the
we
top
always
18.
get surprised by
19, I
these
should say.
qualifying times. Always surprised.
Yeah. Less than 7 tenths. That is incredible. But yeah, no, that's quite. I did not expect that from Brandox. Was under our radar, mind
That's what I
you.
meant.
Like we were not focused. We were
I
not focusing on
wasn't
him.
even expecting Brandox to be on pole position. My hopes were for McKaylee, but like, what the thing is about Brandox, this exactly happened at Brixton on the Silverstone track. We did expect Brandox to be on pole position, and then when it got to the final few minutes, bang, it was Brandox pole position. But yeah, that was just crazy to watch. But look at the grid. P1 all the way down to 19th, all within, you could say, a second, but 6 tenths. That is
Less than 7 tenths, but yeah.
it's crazy. I think that's like
Top
the
4.
closest grid we've had as well than Brazil in the first race. I feel like it's more closer than
And top-
beforehand.
Yeah, and top 4, less than a tenth of a second. That is just
blown my mind
unbelievably
away.
good. Top 10 within 4 tenths. I mean, that. What more can you say? That is just absolutely impressive. Brandox out of nowhere getting a second pole position of the season. Did it Silverstone like you were mentioning a little while ago. Now he gets one on the last gap, and he had connection issues, mind you.
Yeah. Oh, it's raining. Hello.
Oh, rain here in Austria. Okay.
Now, that gets
So-
spicy because what are their setups going to be like? That's the interesting part now. As everyone... No, Nathan's left. Oh, hang on.
Nathan's
We get a
left, but can't-
lobby restart?
I'm gonna look at the Discord real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna guess they're doing a lobby restart because of what happened with the Reservoir's grid penalty. Remember, you got
Alrighty
the unfair grid penalty for illegal blocking.
Well then, what we will do is, whilst this lobby restart is happening, we're going to slap you guys on the lovely BRB screen, and once everything is sorted, we will be right back. Please do bear with. It won't take too long, but I promise you, it will not be long. See you guys in a mo.
Cocaine in my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we're trying to get everyone all sorted out. As you may have saw, we had a bit of an issue during qualifying where Resify got an unfair penalty. That's pretty much why we're doing a lobby restarts, pretty much. But yeah, the game being broken has forced us to do this, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, as you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen, we have intermediate conditions that's going to be
Yes.
playing throughout the entire race. So, how do you think this will be for this entirety of the race? Do you think, Flynn? How do you think it will go with this
Well,
whole weather?
to be honest, I don't think the drivers were expecting wet conditions, even though it was cloudy in qualifying. So
Mm,
the interesting part is, if it said on their pit window whilst in the garage that there's rain expected in the race,
yeah,
well, some of them might have not put a wet setup on because they might not realise of park thermo rules. So you can't change your wings and suspension and stuff like that. So having a think about it, this gives
that's,
drivers a second chance to have a wet setup, a different setup if they want to risk the gamble. But all they've got to do is the drivers need to make sure they put their setups on, because if they don't, then yeah, that could be quite a
well,
damaging or struggle of a race for them, to be honest. So hopefully they remember their setups. I believe they are being told and will be told in the chat that they need to put their setups on, just so it's not, what's the word, unfair, and
yeah,
no one gets
yeah,
unfair setups and stuff like that, really.
yeah. No, I know. With this whole, it's probably the most headache thing to deal with is the
Oh
whole
yeah, 100%.
lobby restart. Yeah. It kind of fit. It kind of hurts more when you're like the lobby host because like, I mean, I could say from my personal experience too, doing it from another league, where like you have a lobby restart, you gotta get everybody back into another lobby and then like do the grid. Ugh,
Oh,
it's just a pain. No,
that does
I,
sound a bit of a pain, to be
it's
honest.
it is a pain. And sometimes people can get impatient because you know that we want to get going, we want to get racing. We got stuff to do other than just race on a video game. But um but yeah, yeah, but with the whole thing, yeah, you got to make sure you got have your setup. Um even though you did mention apart from conditions, yeah, you can't really make changes to the car. There is a couple things you can do actually. You can change a bit of your front wing. You can also change your tire pressures. That's
That
the
is
only
very
thing you
true,
can
yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
but other than that, yeah, you can't really do anything else.
But like I said, it gives drivers a second chance to take the gamble. Do they go for their normal race setup, or do they go for a wet setup? Or is it going to rain for the whole race? Or is it going to be one of those races where it rains for half and the next half it's dry? You just don't know. But my experience
Hmm.
with Austria is that it can rain at the start, and the game will then say, oh, it's not going to rain. Well, it's not going to stop raining and towards the end of the race. And you get to like 5 laps or 3 laps to the end, and then it's completely dry. So then drivers start boxing for, like, say, a brand new, spanking new, fresh set of soft tires, and then they're just more rapid than you say than the intermediate runners at that point.
Mm. Yeah, I see what you mean. Um, I have got word about the weather.
Go on.
It is like I know it says intermediate like you see on your screen. It's gonna be like that the entire race. It's supposed
Oh,
to be
lovely.
that way the entire race.
I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
that's
not
what
fussed.
one of the drivers showed.
I love a wet Austria race, to be honest. It gives more entertainment, and obviously it shows more driver's skill, and they have to
Mm,
save a lot more battery because obviously DRS will be disabled. So that just gives us a more thrilling and exciting race to on hold and watch, really.
right. Yeah, and the last time we had something like this was back at Silverstone, actually,
Oh
too,
yeah.
about a couple of weeks ago. We had I think we had it, if I remember, towards the end of the race, and it brought out a little bit of drama. as well
Had a
in
few
that whole
retirements, I know that.
crossover points. Yeah, quite a bit of retirements. Yeah, I think that race was probably the most we had in terms of retirements. But hopefully that will be the case for this one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes as we are going. So
Lovely
we are
job late.
proceeding through. And I don't think there is formation laps still, if I'm correct, even though that bug was
No,
supposedly fixed.
it's not. It's
But
not fixed. It's still broken,
yeah,
unfortunately. I tried it with a few
yeah, that's why.
mates.
Yeah, that's why I said supposedly.
It's like, so basically, right, so we did it right at this track as well. So we did a formation lap, right? We all lined up on the grid, and they said there was one car missing. So the way it worked is there was one car missing because they were at racing speed, but under yellow flag conditions. So they were just setting laps and laps and laps and laps around Austria, causing blue flags.
Oh yeah.
It just went completely horribly wrong.
Yeah. No, I think I get what you mean. Yeah, the AI just dawdle around the racetrack and doing whatever they want to do. All right. Well, yeah, as you can see, we do have rain in the paddock and well, rain all over the track as well. So yeah, no formation lap, and thanks for waiting as well. By the way, that people that are watching the stream. Of course, we have multiple streams going on as well with F5, F3, and F1, the top split. If you want to also tune into that, make sure you have all the tabs lined up to watch the races. But of course, for us, we're focusing mainly on the F7 series. So we're just waiting right now for everyone to ready up and get their setups. Well, get the setups up first, and then get ready to go for the race. Yeah, like Flynn mentioned, of course. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I'm just waiting and just chilling, really.
Fair enough. No, I was gonna say, like Flynn mentioned, there will be no DRS, of course, because that's something that we cannot have during intermediate conditions, just for the safety of the drivers. Well, that's obviously something that's the FIA that's put out as a rule, but we'll see how it goes.
Yes, we
Yeah, it's
will.
taking a bit of a while. Taking a bit of a while, though. I will say
Oh.
that. All right, here we go. We got the 5 red lights. It's time for the Austrian Grand Prix, round 6 of the championship. We are round 5 of the championship, I should say. And we're underway here at Austria. A nice start there from Brandox. A little bit side by side between Belbeby and Boomsha as they make their way up towards the first corner. And Nicky Latiker 3 wide as well as at turn 1 between the AlphaTauri, Nathan, Riggs, and Joes. But everyone gets through it relatively fine. No further incidents from what I can tell. As they now make their way up over the crest towards turn 3. Heavy braking. Oh, but deep on the brakes. Haas going very wide. That might be McKaylee. Or is that... I think that was McKaylee that won off the track there at turn 3.
Yeah,
as they now make their way up towards... Yeah, side by side as well towards further back. Between the two championship protagonists, Riggs and Toby, is side by side. Well, actually, I should say the championship leader was side by side with Riggs. They've been pretty much magnetic together throughout this championship. They have been close to one another in some occasions. Speaking of which, side by side, Belbeby and McKaylee. McKaylee gets back up into 4th place, or retains 4th place. But a nice start from literally everybody. I don't think any damage from what I could see. Biggest loser of it was Liam, down in 19th.
Yeah, I think he had a poor start to the start of the race, but some drivers like Nathan on the exit at turn 1 has got a mega start out there, and we're seeing some lovely side-by-side action between Rezify and Pravatox at the moment. Pravatox taking P6 and Revisai behind in P7. Yeah, we're seeing moves left, right and centre. We might see a bit of a lunge from Riggs now, potentially. He gets close to the AlphaTauri, but not close enough to get a move done. But that was marginal. But Riggs' teammate behind, Nicholas, up to P10, getting past, or almost getting past Toby, as they make their way down to turn number 4. Obviously, like you said, DRS disabled, and Nicholas actually off the track into the gravel.
Oh, he's gone off into the gravel, yep. He's gone off at turn 4. He's dropped down to 18th. All that hard work he did for a little bit on the first couple laps has kind of gone away. Yeah. Meanwhile, though, the top 2 have started to pull away from Boomsha. It's about 1.5 seconds separate between Yanetsky and Boomsha as they now make their way down towards 9 and 10. But yeah, no DRS, of course. Everyone also on the intermediate tires, I think, and that's how it's going to be for the majority of the race. As Yanetsky sets the fast lap with a 1 minute 3.2 or 13.223. Meanwhile, towards the midfield though, Nathan had he had Riggs looking, but not quite close into turn 1 and the Niki Lauda curve, as they now make their way up towards turn 3.
Red Bull right on his rear wing though, up to turn 4. The Red Bull, turn 3, sorry, he was looking for a move there, just ever so slightly having a look, and there's more positions happening left, right, and centre. The Williams making his way potentially up into 13th, but we'll see what happens on the rundown to turn number 4 now. Both late braking, a bit of a lock up there.
Ooh,
That
yeah,
was
a bit of a
quite
lock up
close.
for Sharduzzi.
Yeah,
Sharduzzi,
Sharduzzi.
oh, showing, yep. Yeah, runner up from
Amazing.
the F8 championship last season. Yeah, of course, from last time about, we remember that he was struggling a little bit in Qatar. That was because he suffered a broken arm. Also another reason why he was out for 2 races because of that. But yeah, at least he's trying his best. That's something I can't say. At least, I mean, I don't know how you could do it with a broken arm. As
So far he's doing
Brandon
well. I'm
did the
pretty
fast
proud
lap.
of him. I'm pretty
Yeah.
proud of him so far. Actually, you know, attending a race so far.
Absolutely. Brandon said fast slap. Here comes McKaylee, looking for anything here at turn 3. Down the inside he goes. As the yellow flies towards the back, that is for an Alpine, I believe it may be. As McKaylee trying to get past Yanetsky here into turn 3. Up towards turn 4, I should say, rather. Down the inside he goes. He makes the move stick. Up into 3rd position he goes. Very nicely done there.
That was a very nice move. And can we just give a massive shout out to Brandox, who's actually managed to maintain the lead. As I say that, it's a slight moment coming into turn 7 there, but you know, he didn't have the greatest start at Silverstone, I believe. He had a bit of contact with one of the drivers that sent him round towards the back of the grid, but so far he's managed to keep P1. But Janetsky right on that rear wing, almost a 10th behind at the moment, so we could see a swap for the lead on the way down to turn 1, or potentially turn 2 or 3.
We'll see, but we'll see here. But yeah, looking like right now the class of the field, these two, they're pulling more and more away from McKaylee. Let's see, Nanetsky up to turn 3. I don't think he'll be close enough to make anything. It's a little tricky, obviously, with these things, these cars, to make any sort of moves in these sort of conditions, as maybe he gets a 5-second penalty and as a result retires from the session. Was really struggling though, maybe there. I don't know if he may forgot to put a setup on and he was struggling. That probably was one of the reasons, I'm guessing. Yeah, unfortunate for Alpine, losing one of their drivers.
But you know, it happens. But let's have a look at Napoli now, P12. Looks like they're struggling there. And the Williams right on the rear wing of the Haas, trying to get the move done for P12.
Luno.
Guess is, oh yeah, Luna, yeah. Going wheel to wheel
Yep.
now. Lovely.
Side by side with the Red Bull. Oh, that was close there.
Wow.
They're still side by side in these
Still
conditions.
gonna go
I'll
wheel
give
to
them
wheel.
credit.
Who's going to be last on the brakes though?
That's the
And
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin. But look at Liam getting
Rally
sprayed.
outside.
Liam got blocked there actually.
Oh, it's Tuca spun. Tuca spun at
Oh.
turn 10.
Well,
Yeah, as
that's
we
a
just
nice
were
little
looking
spin
at
there, 'cause
those
they can
two.
just go into the pit lane now because they kind of have to.
Yeah, they got no choice.
That is quite just a disadvantage as hello, Boom here trying to come
Boomshire.
back at McKaylee, and look
Oh,
at
he can't.
Bumblebee.
Valverde, Meg, getting a run there. Boomshire trying to go down the inside, turn 3. Couldn't make it stick. McKaylee managed to stay in 3rd, and Belvaby just took the opportunity there.
he did.
But yeah, top 2 though are just, I think they're lapping about like half a second, 6/10 a lap, compared to the cars behind the pair of them. So yeah,
I
they are
believe-
definitely looking really good.
I believe 3rd is slightly catching there. I think 3rd has a little bit more pace than the AlphaTauri down in P5 now, as we saw Bumblebee get past the AlphaTauri. But I think 4th and 3rd could catch up to the cars behind. There's Pravatox behind. Trying to get past AlphaTauri as we make our way down to turn 1. The AlphaTauri rear end, or the car itself, just doesn't look settled. It looks like it's struggling in all sorts of corners.
The
I say
Ferrari.
that. And the Ferrari getting quite unsettled there. My heart rate beep monitor thing went up by a substantial amount there. Oh, Pravatox. I think he needs to chill out a little bit. I think he's been a bit too aggressive on that car at the moment.
Probably. Well, I mean, it's understandable. They are racing drivers, and
That's
I mean,
true.
of course, they are using no assist. Remember, no aids to help them out, no line, no TC, no ABS, and stuff like that. It's all by manual control. But yeah, Michele does have a bit of battery to his back pocket. Not as much as Nenetsky. But Brandox, he might be in a bit of trouble because, yeah, Nenetsky's got 30% more battery compared to Brandox in the race lead. So we'll keep our eyes on that for a little bit. Meanwhile, though, as the cars shuffle their way down towards turns 9 and 10, yeah, everyone's pretty much close to one another from 3rd to down to 9th. Rakes, though, our championship leader, is in the back of this queue as we speak as well. He's going to have to try to find a way by as best he can. He did try to look, but doesn't commit to anything there at turn 1.
Sorry to interrupt you, KD, but we've got a switch for the lead happening now. Up to turn 3 we go. And Brandox defending.
Oh.
Janetsky almost off the track there. But doesn't get a great exit. So that was actually quite a nice defense from Brandox. But as we make our way down to turns number 4 now, are these two going to still fight? They are.
Oh, lockup. A little bit of a lockup there from Brandox. Squeezes the Alfa Romeo there.
That
at
was
turn
a
4.
squeeze and a half. But managing
he
to
also
keep
kinda
ahead.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes for the lead, as there was more positions changing. I think that was Josen Toby, I believe, there for 10th, as they still shuffle about there. Meanwhile, though, the battle for the lead, yeah, still continuing. It's also closed the gap a bit with Michele and Janetsky with this battle. Aston Martin, though, doesn't seem like he's cooperating a little bit there at 9 and 10, but he's got that Alpha, as we got yellow flags. That's Napple that was spin out at turn 8, unfortunately dropping down to 17th place because of that result. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead
are on the limit, but as we make our way, turn 3 again. Alfa Romeo is still behind. We might go for a lunge. He's going to go to the outside of the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin plants the car in the best position, but
the Alpha goes for the switch
and doesn't
Can't
succeed.
get it.
The back end kind of snapped out there.
Yeah, he didn't have the traction there, getting out of turn 3. This is also helping Michele close up a bit more. Oh, the rear locks up as well from Janetsky. That cost him a little bit of time. And also, Michele still closing up a little bit more. So, if these two keep battling, Michele could be in the picture, and probably the rest of this train.
Ooh, Riggs. Riggs going down the inside there at turn 6. They don't normally see a move there in wet conditions. Up to P8 he goes now. That was an insane move there. He just sent it on the AlphaTauri on Nathan. Nathan gave the space, he gave the room, and that was incredible. We're back on board the top 2. They're still fighting it out, and this is, like you said, really helping out Michele. That's boom, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
And yeah, we did see incidents there at turn 4 on the mini-map. That was because of an incident, I think, between Brokey and Napple, I believe. But yeah, meanwhile, the Nenetsky, not close enough, but Michele, he is catching this group here towards the front, and same with Belbaby. So these guys we're keeping an eye on. Provatok still not far away, but he's a little bit further back from Belbaby. And then you got Rezify still battling out with Boomshow, leading this little quadruple sum of cars. I'm trying to think of a word for that. But anyway, quadruple sum, we'll go with that, I guess. Maybe that's a new word I'll come up with. But anyway, yeah, he's leading out with Boomshow, Riggs, and Nathan right behind. The two AlphaTauris, though, pretty much giving the Red Bull a little bit of a sandwich.
I mean, I'll keep an eye on that Red Bull, because that Red Bull is flying so far in wet conditions and making some very predictable lunges. Look here, he's going to go for it.
There he comes. In the inside 9. How does he do it there? He's got it done. He's forces Boomshow to make a mistake.
You see what I mean? Riggsy just literally just sends it. It just pure car control, a pure decision, and he's got the move done. But back on board of the top 2, we could see Alfa Romeo attack here on the Aston Martin. Down to turn 3 we go now, and nothing is happening as there's a retirement in the pit lane.
Toby's retired. Yeah, he's done for the night, unfortunately. Becomes our second retirement of the race. Yeah, Netsky not quite close enough. How about into turn 4? No, not on this occasion.
Ooh,
but gets him! Oh, he tags him! He tags the rear of the car! But they managed to keep going. Amazingly, that didn't result in something worse than that. But it's cost them time, and not only that, Michele has closed up more because of that little mistake there from Janetsky. And yeah, it's 1.1 seconds now between second and third.
Now things are getting a bit serious here, of course. On lap number 11. Can you imagine? Lap 11, and there's actually been a spin. Or there's a yellow flag still stuck in the track.
That's
Toby. Never mind.
That's Toby's AI.
Just
not leaving the track.
It's gone now, though. It is disappeared.
Yeah.
But Janetsky, right on the limit there. That was scary. Because I thought, oh no, he's going to happen to Brandox again. He's going to get tagged. He's going to get turned around. And that's not what Brandox would want, unfortunately. But look at Michele, like you said, P3. And he's back within under a second of the 2 cars ahead because they're still fighting. So if Michele's got the race pace, he could surely get involved as Nathan makes a position up to P8 now, up on his teammate. And Boom seems to be struggling a little bit.
Yep. AlphaTauri switching places. Maybe Nathan believes he's got more pace compared to his teammates, so figured just give him a go, I suppose. But yeah, no, top 5 are less than a second from each, almost less than a second from within each other. And yeah, no, this could result in something very interesting indeed. I know the pitch strategy is lap 18 to 27 to get onto a new set of intermediate tires. Yeah. Or maybe we could see people go for no stops. That is possible. But those tires will definitely be dead if that happens.
Right, I'm riding back on board a P7 of Riggsy for some insane lunges. Look at that exit or entrance he's gotten. That's absolutely insane, like crazy. But he's about 2 tenths behind Reservoir as we make our way down to turn number 1. And just look how much confidence he has within the car, and his exit is absolute superb. And he's gonna look for a lunge here. He's gonna go for it. Is it like I said in the slipstream? Up to turn 3 we go now. Red Bull slightly ahead of the McLaren. They make the way to turn 4 now. The McLaren getting the better exit than the Red Bull. But they're still going to be going wheel to wheel. Both draining battery, but it looks like the Red Bull has got a... not Red Bull, sorry, the McLaren has got a little bit more straight line speed than the Red Bull. So maybe Riggsy has found a challenger in this pack now that he might struggle to get by if the McLaren decides to defend off with the battery.
Maybe, but if they keep battling, also, this will cost them a bit of time to get up to the top 5. And right now, it's about 1.8 seconds as Liam overtakes Luno for 12. And it's 7 tenths between the top 2. It's just about 1.1 between Janetsky and Michele. Out of the final corner now, back onto the main straight to begin lap 14 of 36. Still got over 23 laps to go here in Austria. The Finn right now behind the Italian, making the way up towards turn 3, but won't be close enough for a lunge into turn 3. And not quite close enough as Leo gets a penalty of 3 seconds. That's the third. Oh, that's close. Dear me.
Close indeed, but can we just get a second how close drivers are to track limits at the entrance to turn 3? Like, they're literally riding that curb on the white line. It's absolutely crazy. I've actually got a spin or something or another retirement.
Luno.
That's Luno rounds.
He's gone off at turn 1. He was battling for a little while with Napple, I believe. And yeah, as a result, yeah, he must have spun, or he must have took too much curb, I think.
One of the two, not ideal. But I believe Brandox is starting to pick up the pace now. Or Janetsky is starting to struggle a little bit. And I say that, and it looks like he's going to the box.
Yeah, he's going to pit lane.
Janetsky's in.
Wants to go for he wants to go for an undercut on Brandox.
Well then.
All right.
Things turn. Will Brandox go for the pits? Will will he stay out for the remainder of the race, which might be a risky gamble, as Riggsy also in.
Yep, the two Finns in to the pit lane to a new set of intermediate tires. Yeah, Netsky though does have a lot of battery to use, so he can try to push if he can to get an undercut work on Brandox. The undercut here, obviously, like we've seen in the game, is quite powerful here in F123. So, well, Brandox will respond to this. And he also does not have much battery left either. That probably explain, well, to explain why, is also because he's trying to respond to Yanetsky as Nicholas Boyer sets fast slap. As Luna's out of the race, he's done for the night, retires in the pit lane.
I mean, to be honest, if I was in the Aston Martin's position right now, I would just take the gamble and go for the pit, because it's wet conditions. You can't push 110%. So you see Janetsky down all the way down in P10 and Riggsy down in P12 as the Aston Martin's about to enter the pit lane.
And same with the Haas. They're both going in. They're going to respond. So there they go. Bellamy.
It all depends.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the Alfa Romeo as Provodox and Bellamy stay out for another lap. Rezify also follows suit. He's in the pit lane. Now, where is the Alfa Romeo compared to the Aston Martin? The Aston Martin is coming out of
the
coming out of the pit stall now.
Alpha might be ahead
I-
at turn 1. It might
And
be
more
close,
than that, he's
but
going to
there
be
we are.
miles ahead. Look at this. He's miles ahead to the Aston Martin.
Now
He has made this. That's
a
an
crazy-
undercut if I've ever seen that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's an undercut. That's a
But,
massive undercut.
Riggsy not able to, make up much time on the top 2. So we'll see what happens with Riggsy now. Yeah, it's interesting because the Red Bull went into the box and he wasn't too far off Janetsky. So has that Red Bull on their outlap had a moment or something? Or is it just because Brandox was so far ahead he wouldn't be able to undercut the driver?
He was a little bit further ahead, if I remember correctly. But yeah, a little switch to Rooney here as Bellamy goes into the pit lane. Provotux continues to stay out for another lap. And now Nathan follows suit into the pit lane. Meanwhile, though, as well, coming into pit lane is Joe's, the other Ferrari coming into the pit lane. As Yanetsky sets fast lap, he is flying out there right now in that Alfa Romeo. But yeah, no, he pulled off a big, big undercut there. It was less than 6/10 before the pit stop, and now it's 2.5 seconds. That is how powerful the undercut is from the Alfa Romeo
something
driver.
surprising and interesting? We've got a battle right now for Riggsy and Bellamy as we make our way down to turn 3. The Red Bull trying to make the undercut
And look
work.
at that down the inside. He makes his way down the inside. Nicely done.
So
Very
much more
nice, very
confidence.
respectful. Yeah, and respectful driving as
Yeah,
well
that
by
was
the pair.
respectful.
Yeah.
So our championship
got the
leader not having the best of the best today. So
Yeah.
Liam ahead on older tyres, I believe, not box just yet. So
No. He's
he'll
still
be a
out on the
roadblock
old
for
tires.
now, and this will be really
Yeah.
frustrating Bumblebee and the Red Bull because they're being held up at the moment, and that's not what they want. As Janetsky.
Well, that's because Sturgis is going to pit lane.
Yeah. That Aston Martin's pushing hard though, draining the battery, trying to close that gap as we definitely know it's pushing.
And sets fast slap.
1 minute 12.412. So he's definitely flying out there, the Aston Martin is. The gap is around about 2 seconds. But now this falls into Janetsky's hand because Janetsky could just save a bit of battery and just maintain that gap if possible.
And also, we've got 6th place still, Bruin, too. I mean, where have we seen this? Rezify and Riggs so close to one another here. As they make their way to turn 3, those two. But yeah, these two are very much like magnets from the times we've watched F7, with these two being very close to one another.
Oh,
and also to keep in mind as well. I'm sorry, keep in mind as well. Oh, I think that's a warning there from Nenetsky as I went on board. Provotux has yet to stop. He's still out there, and he's going to continue to stay out. So he's not bothering to go into pit lane just yet. He wants to stay out a little while longer.
the risky gamble, like you said. Like, is it meant to dry up? Of course, been told it's a wet race, like fully wet, so the drying up part may not happen. But is there a reason why Paradox is staying out? Is he waiting for a safety car? That's what he's probably
Could be
waiting
waiting
for,
for
right? He's taking the gamble. Taking that gamble, which is pretty smart in my opinion, but safety cars in F7, I would say in my opinion, are quite rare because normally drivers don't make marginal errors because they know that they've got no assists on. So why would they make marginal errors?
I think the most we've had in terms of safety cars was back in Silverstone.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
we keep mentioning Silverstone quite a bit, but yeah,
But
no,
it's
that's
true,
like.
though. It's true. That's like.
But yeah,
that's
no, it's true.
when we had the that's when we last had a safety car, like a proper big blown safety car around the track a few times. So we're not wrong, but to be honest, we're mentioning Silverstone quite a lot because obviously that was the first bit of wet race we got, you know, and that's when we got to see the drivers' limits and how the drivers acted on track with wet conditions. And this is now the second time. So, yeah.
Actually, I think if I remember correctly too, I think Brazil had that towards the end of that race as well. So it's not the first.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, 3 times I think we had that. It's been more half-ish, I think, with Brazil. Silverstone, then I know we definitely had that a lot more. And yeah, obviously with this race, yeah, it's been like this the entirety, and it probably will be the entirety from what I remember when we were in the lobby. But yeah, as we look on, the gaps right now between Provatux and Yanetsky is dropping. It's now 5.5 seconds. Brandox, though, is not far away. He is trying to catch up. He was about 2.5 seconds after the pit stop. Right now, it's just over. Actually, just closed up by a second as Riggs overtakes Reservoir for 6th place down the back straight.
Yeah, I was going to say those two are fighting out down to turn 3. The McLaren was ahead and got past the Red Bull, but the Red Bull, of course, went up the inside, and then the McLaren just got it all wrong out of turn 3, and the Red Bull just said, thank you very, very much. I will take P6 once again. And of course, it's not really helping our championship leader, is it? Because all this fighting has let Bumblebee run away by almost 2 seconds. But it's crazy. But do you want to know something interesting that's really caught my eye? Brandox.
Yeah.
Low on battery.
Yep.
Janeski's saving battery because this is quite a hard track to save battery. But Brandox 1.3 behind, so he's definitely pushing. So he's showing he has pace. And Nathan there with the fastest lap time. So Nathan now starting to push on a fresh set of inters, I believe. Because if you've got an old set, then I'll be pretty impressed. And yeah, but Reservoir P6 again up the inside now at number 3, getting the better exit, the better traction, where you want to be in the wet condition, in my opinion, and gets past that Red Bull. Of course, the McLaren has a bit more straight line speed, it seems, than the driver behind. So yeah, like I keep saying, not a good day for our championship leader. So a few points will be hurt by him if Michele stays in P4 at this moment of time. And
yeah, and
Michele keeps it cool, and like you said, Provatux can drop, but he's gone to the pit lane now. Actually. He's in the pits.
Alright, well, he won't have to worry about that anymore.
It gets interesting though, because if you have a look at tyres, like the detailed tyres right now, everyone's been on those tyres for like, well, the top 2, 7 to 6 laps, and the Michele 6 to 5, and that's where it's ranging from. But Provatux comes into the box at lap 22, and he has a brand new set of intermediate tyres, and he's going to come out around about, I'd say, actually ahead of these two in 8th place. So right now, Provatux could have the advantage here as those tyres start to wear off, but only time will tell. Because we're in wet conditions, and he can't make any more mistakes. He's got to push, 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 and he's got to go now. He's got to turn on the battery, and he's got to try and go and not let any cars through get ahead of him to obviously, you know, make him, or slow him down, shall I say. So that could get quite interesting towards the end of the race. That could be something to watch out for. So we're going to keep it. I'm going to keep an eye on Provatux and P8 to see if they can make up any more positions.
Yeah, he's also known to actually have some sort of late sort of magic as well, Provatux. We saw that back in Brazil. back in the first round when he overtook Yanetsky on the final lap after Yanetsky made a slight error, and yeah, no, capitalized that, and we weren't expecting him to be that position. But yeah, no, this is going to be quite interesting to see. But yeah, he's had 3 out of the 4 races, Provatux, on the podium. He's only had 1 bad race, and that was back at Bahrain. But let's see what kind of magic he's got in store. Like you did mention, on the fresher tires, so he definitely will have that sort of advantage. But it's going to be a little bit difficult to try overtake the cars in front.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Meanwhile, though, speaking of cars in front, Brandock's 1 second, right behind Nanetsky. Joes overtakes Nicholas Boyda for 11th. That must have it at turn 3.
It's still going at it actually down to turn number 4 we go in sector 2. So this could get quite spicy and interesting. But the Red Bull, like you said, ahead, and hopefully for the remainder of this lap. But that Ferrari is following very closely behind. But look at this. Where has this come from? He was a second above, and I say he's now second above again, but he's now within a second. So obviously no DRS as it's wet conditions, but I'm quite impressed that Brandox has managed to pull it off and get back to where he's meant to be. You know, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, the gap right now between him and Riggs in the championship is 17 points. Provatux that's the fastest lap. He is setting a benchmark right now. He's trying to fly out there in that Ferrari. But yeah, this will definitely help Brandox in the championship for sure to catch up to the Finn of Riggs. And same with Yanetsky as well, who's also not far away from him either. Currently sitting right now about, if I remember correctly, about I think over 36, 37 points behind. So yeah, this will definitely help these two in the championship as Liam leaves the session and also retires. Actually, I just failed to mention that now, as Tukas' fastest lap in 15th.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's going well for these drivers, of course. Well, I say all of them, but to be honest, some drivers having a few errors and struggling a little bit. But now I'm going to try and keep my eye on Paradox, and so far his advantage to the fresher tyres, as I've been watching over the fewer laps, isn't working 100%, but only time will tell. He needs drivers to make mistakes and have errors, but not too sure how that's going to play out. Obviously, we're keeping our eyes on the top 2 of how close they're getting now. And can I just say, is this going to be the first race, right, where we're going to have less penalties as P9
Maybe
has a swap for positions?
Yeah, that was showed due to the game by Boomsha at turn 3. Nicholas Boy doing the same story as well on Joe's at turn 3 as well, behind them. But yeah, we've had only 3 drivers with penalties. Boomsha, Brokey, and Napple. That's literally it. Everyone is literally square, pretty much. As Rectify makes a mistake there at turn 7 and 8.
That is
He makes
not
a slight error.
ideal.
No, and he's lost 2 positions and lost time, and Provatux has caught up to him as well because of that little mistake.
Those tires, that might just indicate that those tires are starting to drop off ever so slightly. Like, you got to think about it, right? Surely, if that McLaren has had a moment, so we have a look at tires quickly. So yeah, that McLaren has been on those tires for like around about 10 laps now, and up the grid so far is like 10 and 11 laps. So those tires would surely start fading off, and then that Ferrari can slowly make their way through the rest of the grid. So maybe, just maybe, it is going to work into the Ferrari's hands. Probably not for P1. Well, I say that. Anything could happen in this race because Paradox can be one of those people which is like, I'm not fast, I'm a little bit slow, but he can be quick near towards the end of the race.
Well, as we say that, he nearly had a moment at turn 4.
I saw that.
That was quite close. But yeah, at the moment though, Nathan on the back of Riggs. Riggs is now in the top 5, so at least he's salvaging something. Even though he doesn't really have the pace compared to the top 2, he at least has a pace to keep it somewhat salvageable. at least just to maintain his lead. Well, what do you know? As I say that, he gets a penalty. The damn commentator curse struck again there.
Has indeed.
Oh.
But let's look on board with Pravatox now. Look how close he is to the rear wing of that McLaren on the exit of turn 1. It's a bit of an squiggly exit, you could say there, but he's pulling over
Look at that.
to the left-hand side, and he is gone. But can he keep the position as we head down to turn number 3 now? And
That just
he
slides
can.
out there too. Yeah,
That was amazing.
He can. Had good car control nonetheless, because his car was sliding at the exit of turn
Yeah.
turn 3 as well.
So maybe like we're saying, and we're trying to figure out with this interesting strategy that is playing in Pravatox's hand right now, maybe that is actually working. Maybe his fresher tyres are coming into play towards the end of this race, because look at that gap already with Nathan. It's already with under a second, and he's hardly used any battery to get close to the driver ahead. Of course, he would have used on turn 1 to get past Reservoir, that's why it's a little bit low. But he's already, what, 7/10 behind Nathan. So this is looking pretty well for Reservoir. This could, not Reservoir, sorry, Pravatox. This could look like a spicy ending towards the end of this race. Potentially a podium if he doesn't get held up for too long.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
an if, though.
Yeah, massive if. But yeah, still got a little ways to go. 9 laps left into this race. Yeah, Pravatox though, if he wants to catch the lead, the gap right now is 12.2. That's still a little bit ways, but not impossible. But it's a bit of
Definitely
a
not
stretch.
impossible. But he's already got a free position to P6. As we know, our championship leader, the Red Bull driver, has got a penalty. So that's already him into P6. If he gets past this AlphaTauri very, very closely and quickly, then, you know, that's then P5 gain for him because of that time penalty, as Nathan looks like he's struggling there out of the exit of turn number 4. And Pravatox actually going to go around, or attempt around the outside, but backs off
Ooh,
to
turn 9. He goes for the switchback though. It's
Oh,
in turn 10. What a brilliant move.
That was
There
brilliant.
by
I did not
Pravatox.
expect that from Pravatox there, but that was delightful. And now up into P6 he now goes. Not far off P5. This could be quite an interesting ending towards the end of the race as we make our way to lap 29, almost to lap 30. And
Yeah.
Brandon started
this
to fall
is-
off the pace of Janetsky up ahead, which is also getting quite interesting as well.
Yeah, 1.4 seconds is the margin between those two. Yeah, it's a bit spread out right now, the top 4, but it's not spread out though between Pravatox and Riggs. Gap half a second. And yeah, the fresher tires may be working into the Ferrari's hands as Joe's and Nicholas Boy, the other two Ferrari and Red Bulls, battling out there in turn 3, swapping places there with Nicholas game by for 11th place. And meanwhile though, Pravatox 4/10, closing bit by bit as well as they make their way through 7 and 8.
I was going to say, I think those tyres actually working because we saw at the start of the race that the Red Bull was the faster driver to keep on board with, but Pravatox looks like he's the one to keep on board with now. He's stealing the show, shall we say, from the Red Bull driver as we make our way down to turn 1.
Nathan
And
penalty.
Nathan, a 3-second tyre penalty. Not ideal and not what you want on lap number 30 with 6 laps remaining, but look at the exit. Just look how confident he is with that. And then Reservoir, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And look at that, the Ferrari is through, battery on. There's nothing the Red Bull can do. And up into P5 he goes now. Now, the gap ahead of him for P4 is around about 4.6 seconds. So,
Yep.
the chances now is the tyre advantage going to come into play. And if he makes no errors, not only will he get P4, but he could chance it. He could also chance it and get a P3, which would be an excellent result for Pravatox. I think he'd be very chuffed and very, very, very happy with that. Very happy with that result.
Yeah, absolutely. Qualifying 4th as well, but yeah, dropping down to 8th, trying to do a strategy that didn't necessarily pay off, but he could still try to make it up, get it up towards the podium if he can. But yeah, he's got some work to do. Yeah, right now though the gap,
He is coming
as
down
as I
a
said,
little bit.
is coming down. It's 4 seconds. But yeah, if unless Bumblebee gets a penalty or something like that. Speaking
Ooh,
of that,
boom,
Bucha
though.
actually gets a penalty. Yeah, gets a penalty instead. As I say that. Yeah, let's Bumblebee gets a penalty, then yeah, this could change things a little bit. 3.8 seconds now is the gap. He's getting 3/10 in that one little
That is,
sector
I'm sorry,
alone.
but that is just that is just crazy what fresher intermediates can do. Like, because if we have a look again at details on tires, actually, if you have a look at tires now, 16, 15, 14 laps on those intermediates, not ideal. But Pravatox, 9 laps, and yeah, you just see where he's getting the grip and where he's finding the mojo, where he's finding the groove, and you never know if the tires are starting to drop off and they drop off so much, then just maybe he could snag the win. But time is running out
Oh,
and laps are running
it's
out.
running out.
3
yeah.
seconds is the gap to the car ahead. Bumblebee now within his sights. Obviously, like you said, a time penalty could change anything. But Bumblebee may try and push, but it doesn't seem that Bumblebee is pushing at the moment. The gap now 3.2. So maybe Bumblebee's starting to use. But saying that, at turn number 3, he goes ever so slow there. So I believe those tyres are starting to fade off. And this is starting to get quite ever so marginal and a little bit scary, and I'm starting to get on the edge of my seat here because we could get such an exciting end to this race, especially P3 could lose out to P5 potentially.
Could be, we'll see. Well, right now Nenetsky, he's built up the gap 2.4 seconds. Last time we checked was about over a second. So yeah, he's looking like he's got now more pace in that Alfa Romeo compared to the Aston Martin. And I think as it stands, it could be set in stone for the top 4. Or unless I say that, unless Provatox can catch Bumblebee,
Well, he
which he probably can. It's 2.2. Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, but that's just... Where is he finding... I know he's got fresher tyres, but it's like, it's what I don't get about Pravatox, right? So what I don't get about this driver is that his qualifying can be really good and exciting and thrilling to watch. In the race, he goes really quiet, and then towards the end of the race, he's on fire. Like, absolutely on fire.
Yeah, that is a common thing we have seen from him throughout this entire season. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it goes. I don't think we're gonna also have safety cars coming anytime soon because we have about almost 3 laps, about 3.25 lap to go. So yeah, I don't think we'll see any safety cars coming out anytime soon. So it's just pretty much now a race to the checkered flag. I don't think punctures though will come into play, at least, unless something happens like that. You never know with RNG and this.
Because, as you know, I know Qatar's a very different track, but I know at WOR, which I did comms for last week on Thursday, someone did 20 laps on the mediums and then got a left puncture. But look at that. Saying that, Pravatox, he is 1.6 behind a car ahead. He could do this, you know. For potentially not P3. I never know. It could happen. But he can definitely get P4 here. P4 is definitely on the table.
P4 is on the table. P3 might be a little bit of a stretch, but you never know.
I was going to say, Michele is starting to catch P2, saying that. So those two up ahead could battle to help Pravatox out a bit if one of them then gets a time penalty, but only time will tell. Yep.
And Nenetsky, though, just pretty much just minding his own business. He's also grown that gap by another second on that last lap. It was 2.4, now it's 3.9, I should say now, is the gap between the Alpha and the Aston Martin. Michele, though, 1.4, closing a little bit between the French, for the French driver, trying to close up on the Italian in front. And meanwhile, though, the Dutchman, Provatox, trying to close up on Bumblebee. They make their way around turns 9 and 10. On the penultimate lap, we got 2 more laps to go here at Austria.
Yes, we do indeed, and look at that. That is what's scary. Provatox is within, you could say, striking distance with the car ahead. It's about to be under a second as we make our way through turn 1. It's going to be, and he's going to turn on the battery. He is now starting to drain the battery. So it's a good point to start doing that, because if he starts pushing now, he's got no battery, which is an issue. The driver ahead's got quite a ton of battery. As I say, he has a massive moment there into turn 3, and his exit isn't great. So could that have been his chance to stay with P4 closely to get a lunge? Or is that done and dusted? Is that it? Is that his opportunity gone? As we say that, look at McKaylee on the Aston Martin.
Oh, can you show the penalties real quick? Nick's
can do.
requesting that. Yeah. So penalties. Yeah, 3 seconds for Riggs and Nathan and Stroduzzi. Sorry, Rezify. Stroduzzi has 6, Boomsha has 6, Josen 3, Brokey with 6, and Napa with 3. That's literally about it at the moment. I
Here we
don't
go.
think they'll change positions, but yeah, here we go. We're on the last lap
Oh,
as
it's
we
gonna get
begin lap
spicy.
36 to 36. Yep, and might keep our eye out for second because McKaylee has closed the gap to under a second between himself and Brandox. So we got the battle for second and we got the battle for fourth brewing here on the final lap. As they now make their way up to turn 3, but he won't be close enough here to attack the Aston Martin, McKaylee that is, into turn 3. But gets deep on the brakes, very confident as well, I will say that.
Very confident on the brakes there.
Yep. But he will not be close enough, and I don't think Prometux will either, because I think the tires
No.
might have just run out of life. I think they run out of life, I think, for him.
I mean, it was
So
a
I
good
think-
gamble for Pravatox. He made a lot of positions up there from P8 to P5, so I think he just take that as a good result. But yeah, I think Janetsky, he's on for the win here. Coming around to
Yeah.
number 8 now, to 9 and 10 as well. Bit of quite a powerful undercut, you could say, for getting ahead of Brandox. So as he makes his way around to turn 10 now, the final turn of Austria. Hopefully no penalties, and he keeps it on the white lines, within the white lines, comes across the line, and he takes the win at round number 5 of Austria. Brandox will fend off the Haas, who was only 6 tenths behind. That was pretty close. And Pravatox, only 4 tenths behind, will take P5, and so on. P6 for Riggs, 7th for Nathan, 8th for Rezify. Traduci will take P number 9. And to finalise the points-paying positions, Boom Pie will come in P number 10. We'll say that Nicholas will probably take the last point-scoring opportunity as he's within a second. So the Red Bull comes across the line, he'll take P10, and the Ferrari will go up to P11. And that is going to be it for your point-scoring positions. Well,
Yep.
JD, what do you think of the
yeah.
race?
Yeah, good race overall, and I could say too, this is also redemption for Janetsky after what happened in Brazil. Finally gets the win here in Austria. Redemption for Brazil, and yeah, takes the top step, and will help him closer into the Drivers' Championship. Same with Brandox and Prometux to close up on our current championship leader, Riggs. But yeah, this has been quite a race indeed. Sorry
Yeah,
to
that
interrupt
was
you
a
there.
race.
Stuart Disney,
To watch out for.
driver of the day. Absolutely.
I would say, I don't know, who's your driver of the day? Like, who would you actually say is the preferred driver you would have
Oof.
wanted to have at the spotlight moment, if you had to say now?
Oof, if I had to get, well, yeah, if I had to say who it would be, goodness me. Well, probably, I would say Janetsky. He just looked like a total class of his own after
Yeah.
the pit stop, and yeah, just never looked back. No, just did a very fantastic job. It sounds cliche to say go for a race winner, but I think he's deserving of the driver of the day. But yeah, Brandox gave it everything. Unfortunately, though, it just wasn't enough. And McKaylee finishing in third, good result. And also, like I said, will help those guys in the Drivers' Championship. And same with Prometux, who's not too far away either.
Yeah, that is very true. And yeah, so there is your classification for the grid, or provisional classification, should I say, in case there are any Stuart reports which come into play. And even though there are some time penalties flashing on screen, they could produce into more penalties, and positions could jiggle up. But no, Janetsky takes P1 with a total of 25 points. Brandox takes P2 with 18, and then McKaylee in the Haas, the reserve driver, shall we say, takes 15 points, and that rounds the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna see if
Let's
anybody
also
would
see if we
like
can
an
get.
interview. Anyone?
Yeah,
like
we'll see if we can get them in here.
interview? Top. Oh, sugar. Top 3.
Hang on a second. I'll tag the drivers and see if they want to join us. I'll tell them obviously to join the VC.
Just tell them to join the waiting room. But yeah, whilst we chill and wait, guys, please let us know in the chat what you thought of the race, who you thought your race winner was going to be, some exciting moments, and we will not be long at all. We're just waiting to see if some drivers would like to have some interviews, and if they would, we would drag them up, have a chat, and
Mhm.
once that's done, we're going to wrap things up. If they don't want an interview, that of course means we'll just have a quick chat about the calendar, what's coming for round number 6, and then we can, you know, go from there and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, absolutely. Because we do have now an update on the count. Unfortunately, Tommy, we probably would want to have Brandox do that instead of you. No, not to be rude, but yeah, we would rather have the drivers to do it, not someone random from the audience. But I haven't got anything yet. We'll just wait and see if they want to join. But yeah, they haven't really answered my question yet. If they want to do interviews.
Nah.
But yeah, no, you did mention that we do have the calendar, or actually I did. When we have the calendar now more updated. So we've got 5 more races now in this from round 6 to 10. We have Suzuka, Imola, Spa, Jeddah, and the final round is Mexico. Oh,
Good old
here's
Mexico.
engineer. Right. Interesting. Uh, Tommy says he's an engineer. Well, look, uh, still the same story though. I mean, like, not to be like rude, Tommy, obviously, but yeah, like, we rather have the drivers like have be in the interview. And plus, we are doing this through a Discord as well, Discord VC. So, like, we don't know if you're also in that, so we don't want to make it a big hassle about it. Sorry about that, but yeah, I don't think anybody is really. Yeah, no problem, Tommy. I'm just responding through the comments. But anyway, I don't think anyone's joining other than that, Flynn. But I guess we could give a little selves a recap on this. Other than this has been a pretty good race. I mean, wasn't the most exciting race we've had this season so far, but it wasn't too bad, I'd say.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. But what I will say is, it was not a thrilling race, you know, because obviously wet races, to be honest with you, they can be very, very boring. Like don't get me wrong. But towards the end of that race, things did start to intensify and did start to get very, very high and ever so interesting, I may say so. So that was quite thrilling and exciting to watch. But I'm actually excited for the next rounds what coming up. As you said, the calendar has now been announced. So why don't you take it away and you actually tell us what we've got on the calendar for the remainder of
Oh,
this season?
okay. Well, I did do that, but I'll do it again. So yeah, Suzuka will be the next round of the championship. At for round 6. Then round 7 will be at Imola. Round 8 at Spa. Round 9, the penultimate round. That's actually something we have been familiar with before, back in the 2021 season.
Ooh,
Jeddah being the penultimate round of the championship, and then finally Mexico as the final round. Bit interesting to know that Mexico being the final round. I will be serious about this. I'm not a big fan of that, really, of Mexico being the final round. Although I'm not someone in charge of PSGL. I'm just a commentator, but that's just my opinion about Mexico. But yeah, that's pretty much what we got.
yeah, that does sound pretty what's the word, intense and quite exciting, shall I say. But no, I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
we're going to wrap it up there for today.
Yep, absolutely. I guess I'll close it out. So, yeah. Well, and also a big thank you as well, Flynn, for making the stream look absolutely good. It looks spectacular as well from your end. But yeah, until then, I am McKinney997. My co-commentator has been Flynn. We will see you again next week for the 6th round of the championship at the Suzuka International Racing Course, or the Suzuka Circuit, for the Japanese Grand Prix. Take care,
Yeah.
everybody.
Well, take care, guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's though. He's got the inside. Up here is through on the left hand side. Hugs the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US.
Cocaine to my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine to my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine to my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my